Okay. All right. It is 7:04. To note that we started the outreach committee meeting at 7:04. I'm going to share my screen to just show today's agenda and to start today's meeting. So we do have a quorum on the 3 committee members here today. So good evening, everyone. Michael Cortez, I'm the outreach committee chair. So glad to be here with all of you tonight. Just some housekeeping items. This meeting will be recorded. If you are joining us and need to by phone for some reason, if your Zoom gets logged out, you can call in at 888-475-4499. And just to let you know, in conformity with the September 6, 2020 enactment of the California Assembly Bill 361, and due to concerns over COVID-19, the Lake Balboa Council meeting like this will be conducted entirely with a call-in option or internet-based service option. Public input can be provided by phone, or by webinar, which many of you are here today attending. If you are interested, every person wishing to address the board must raise their hand when prompted by the presiding officer to address the board on any agenda items before the board takes action on the item. The chat function has been disconnected, so we ask that you please raise your hand, and everyone is muted until recognized. Wanted to just go in to add to that comment under the public comment section is please advise us if you are a registered lobbyist. Comments from a public on non-agenda items, issues, announcements, and complaints within the jurisdiction of the Lake Balboa Neighbor Council. The Brown Act prevents the board from commenting on your comments. We are making note of them and limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Notice to paid representatives. If you are compensated to monitor, attend, or speak at this meeting, city law may require you to register as a lobbyist and report your activity. You can see Los Angeles Municipal Code, section 4801. For more information, it's available at ethics.lacity.org/lobbying. For assistance, please contact the Ethics Commission at 213-978-1960 or ethics.commission@lacity.org. So I just wanted to go over that before we start today's meeting today. Again, welcome to today's meeting. We'll go ahead and begin with we already said welcome's item number 1. We'll go over to item number 2, which is Jesse Owens Park grand opening on October 29th. And Jim Stein is here, who is leading that event. And so he's happy to talk a little bit more about it. Jim?
Okay. Yeah, I'm Jim Stein, and LBNC is co-chairing the grand opening of the Jesse Owens Park on Saturday, October 29th. Hours are 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. We're CD6 is the chair, we're the co-chair. We're hoping to have assistance if anybody's available. We're going to set up at 10 a.m. There's a schematic on there. We've been over there to see how we're going to where we're going to put ourselves. What else can I say?
For those that aren't familiar, Jim, do you want to kind of walk through like what the park, I don't know what you're seeing on the screen?
Okay, sure. Well, it's a small park. It's a mini park, and it's on the east side of White Oak Avenue, just south of Sherman Way. On the left side of the screen, there's parking along White Oak. On the right side of the screen, there's Jellicoe Avenue. There's parking along Jellicoe Avenue. There's a brand new play structure that was put in. It's circled in blue. It's still fenced in now. They're going to finish repairing the restrooms. They still have a few things left to do with the play structure and landscape. We are right square in the middle of that picture where it says LBNC CD6. There's on the to my left, we've got two caterers, Humblebee. Humblebee's going to have a booth. Ever After Cookie's going to have a booth, and there's free food.
All right. Let me stop sharing. Thank you, Jim. And I know as our, oh, go ahead. Linda has a comment, and so is.
Oh, you responded so fast. I have a question. Can the schematic that Jim shared on the screen today, can I get a copy of that? Could it be emailed to me?
I'll send it to you, Linda.
Thank you, sir.
And then Linda, or I think Stacy was first, and then Linda. Let me ask you.
Thank you. I had a question, Jim, specifically because you had mentioned the bathrooms, and I noticed that one of the other Rec and Park committee members had posted something either on social media, either on Nextdoor or on Facebook, trying to get support for doing away with the bathrooms there. What's the status on that? Are the bathrooms going to stay?
That's all discussion right now. What we know is for the grand opening, the restrooms will be all cleaned up with new fixtures, painted, and what have you.
So they're staying for now, but
For now,
discussion that they may go.
that's just discussion between the community that lives there and Recreation and Parks.
Well, except it's on social media, so it's broader than just that group. So thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Linda.
So Stacy, are you saying that there's talk out in the hinterland to remove the restrooms?
Yes, that is one of the Rec and Park committee members made a post on social media saying that she is all in favor of getting rid of the bathrooms and trying to gain support for that. So yes, if you would like, I can try and find it and get that to you if you need.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm curious.
Okay.
So Jim, what do you need from outreach? I know that Jennifer has her hand raised and she does a lot of social media. So my question is, what do you need from outreach for social media, for attendance? Do you want t-shirts? Do you not want t-shirts? Do we need tables? We need people to set up? We kind of need a plan.
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Thank you.
And thank you for bringing that up. There's going to be a lot of help from the Jesse Owens Park people, but we don't, Jesse Owens Park people don't have access to the shed. It was our goal to have Lake Balboa bags, give people a bag, a shirt, maybe, I don't know what else we have in there. Whistles, what do they call those things? A swag
Whistles.
bag.
And
So that would be our contribution. That would be Lake Balboa. That would be Lake Balboa's contribution at the park. That would.
so we need, so because this is outreach, we need to have someone collecting names and email addresses for our database.
Yes.
Do we know who's going to do that, or is that still in the planning stage?
Ruth has volunteered her time, and I don't want to twist anybody's arm. I'll do the best I can.
Well,
But
that's why we're discussing it this evening, so we can kind of get to know what's needed and how many people, and send the word out and request. So now's the time to speak up because it's September.
right. I've done this kind of thing before. I don't have a key to the shed anymore. Hopefully I can get a hold of Danica, and she did the movie and it worked out really well. And
Well,
Uh,
Danica doesn't have the key. The two Lindas have the keys.
okay, well then you're volunteered.
At what time do you need me there?
Well, I think we better have our stuff ready to go. We want to set up at 10. We want to be set up at 10 o'clock, but we should set this thing up, beforehand, maybe the day beforehand.
The chairs and tables won't be there.
No, that's too
Oh, I'm
early.
talking about the bags, the chairs and tables and the pop-ups are a last minute item.
So like 8 a.m. on the
Uh,
day of 9.
I think 9's probably good, unless anybody else has a better.
9 a.m. at storage. Okay.
Now wait, set up at the park at 9 a.m. or go to
9.
storage at 9 a.m.
No, at the
Storage
park.
at 9 a.m.
I think we need to get our bags and stuff together before Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should have all that stuff ready to go to the park and set up maybe beginning at 9 a.m. that morning. Jim, a question. Is Rec and Parks going to have a volunteer or a strategy group get together before this, or are we doing this tonight while we're here at outreach so that we can kind of firm things up? You tell
We're going to
me.
have another Rec and Park meeting we've already had the September meeting, so we're going to have a Rec and Park meeting in October.
Before I make, oh, sorry, Lynn, did you have anything else, Ed?
No, I don't. Jennifer's
Yeah,
next.
yeah. I wanted to go to Jennifer. Jennifer, you're allowed to speak.
Hey guys, I had a question about the schematic and the setup that we're talking about. Right now, there are picnic benches that Rec and Park dropped off that are within the fencing near the play structure. Have they communicated where those will be positioned in the park? And also, have they, do we know when that might happen? I think based on this schematic, we might have to be flexible on day of because we don't know where those picnic tables are going to go.
I talked
So I
to,
just wondered if they're going to, tell us when those are going to be positioned or where. I'm assuming they're going to find like the nice shady parts.
I talked to Wayne Neal.
Who is?
Wayne Neal's with Rec and Parks. The initial idea, the design that LBNC came up with had those benches over on the south side of the playground. The reason that they're not put in is because they're going to pour cement and put slabs in for them. And though he hasn't told me exactly, he expects that's where they're going to be, and he'll get back to me with further information.
Okay, cool. I still have 2 more questions if I may.
Sure.
One is a comment. My other question is, I know there was discussion about bathrooms, and if they are intending on cleaning them up and to open them up, because they've been locked for the better part of a solid year now. The other concern I have is an environmental problem. They leak water, possibly sewage into the park grounds when they're being used. So that needs to be addressed. They can't just be cleaned up and, painted with a toilet paper roll. Because standing right next to the building after it has been used a few times, it leaks and it's awful. So I just want to make sure that maybe somebody addresses that with Rec and Park, because I didn't even know they were planning on opening them up again for our event. But so that's a concern I have with that. And then the last thing I wanted to say is volunteers. As a community member, I'm trying to get people that live in my immediate area that are interested in volunteering to help us out that day, whether it's setup, tear down, whatever. If I have names and email addresses and such, should I send it to you, Michael? Or do I communicate on my own to them to show up?
Well, that was a question I was going to ask Jim. Thank you, Jennifer. If you did need volunteers, will you be collecting names, or is that something you want outreach to support to help coordinate with you?
Okay, well, let me start going through that list of questions. Removing the restrooms, whether it happens or not, will not be done by the time of this grand opening. Even if Rec and Parks said today that they want to remove those, it has to go to the Rec and Park Commission. There has to be a lot of discussion on it. We're talking maybe 6 months minimum. It's not going to happen. Although he guarantees me that they will be cleaned up with new fixtures, painted and cleaned. He doesn't want to see them looking bad, and he knows that the community doesn't want to see them looking bad. He's going to potentially have Nuri Martinez there. That's not what he wants her to see. And I say potentially because who knows. As far as
Volunteers.
email addresses and whatever, go ahead and send them to me. Folks who are in outreach can get a hold of Michael. Between the two of us, we'll have enough people to take care of this. I don't think the community, the Jesse Owens people need to be going inside the LBNC shed. There's probably a rule against it or something that I don't know. Yes, there is. No, there isn't. I don't know. But I was thinking perhaps that the outreach people might be able to take the things that are needed over and have the Jesse Owens people, along with the help of the outreach people, separate these things and create these what did I call them? Something bags?
And giveaway bags or like goodie
Event
bags,
bags.
event bags, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Jim, so kind of going back to Jennifer's question, is there a role for community volunteers that can support the park, the grand opening event? I know you said, like, of course, for the bags, we understand you want the LBNC outreach committee or members to support you, but what can community members, like Jennifer said, that they're excited, they want to see this park and they want to volunteer, so what role can they potentially play?
I don't think they're allowed to go inside our shed.
Yeah.
No
Correct.
offense to them or whatever, but it's
Or like, is there like crowd control? Is there
crowd control.
passing out, like if you're gonna have like programs or anything, like what potentially can community members volunteer for if Jennifer's collecting names or emails for you?
There was actually one thing that I shared with you. I know it's not set in stone, But Katie made it up with an idea of what could happen during the day. If we could share that.
Yeah.
perhaps,
So let me
that
see if
might
I
answer
can
that question.
open it. Hold
Do you
on.
mean a schedule of some sort,
There's a
perhaps?
schedule.
Draft?
Yeah, and then now that I asked my question, I'll go back to Jennifer because I know she had her hand raised first. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Hey, no, I was just gonna say, like, I think the community around, obviously, we don't want to touch the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council stuff. That's not what I was implying. I think there's gonna be cleanup needed after the event to make sure that the trash is taken care of to help, right? That's part of our community and our effort. So I think that would be a great opportunity for any of my neighbors to help participate in the event, is wrangling up the trash because we're gonna have food and all kinds of stuff out there. So we want to make sure that that's taken care of appropriately. And during the event, saying, hey, there's a trash can right over here. That's what I've kind of envisioned some of our community members doing.
There's a lot of, and I mentioned this to you, Jennifer, you may not remember, but there's a lot of these cardboard trash box things that go together that we've used at previous movie in the park events, and they're in the shed, and we can bring them to the event. You guys can help put them together and put a bag in them, and change bags if necessary as time goes along.
Okay, so that's great. So yeah, Jennifer, it looks like what you're hearing is definitely volunteers would be needed, and I like your plan to support. Like, yeah, you're right. Everyone always leaves, and then there's like need for cleanup or breakdown, and that'd be your support be greatly needed. So I think between having Jim as the main contact, and then if Jim, I'll be his support to with the volunteer side. Going into I think, was it Linda G or Linda S had their hand raised first? Sorry, Linda G. Linda.
Yes, thank you. First of all, this is a Rec and Park event. So Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council is in charge of the event. So what I need from you, or we need from you, Jim, is okay, at this time you need people. At that time you need people. These are what the people are going to be doing. Nuri comes at this time. Nuri is going to say some words. Then it's going to be over, and who's going to be there to clean up. So we need the whole day kind of planned out, who's doing what. Are there going to be people there from Jesse Owens? Do we want to every so often say some of Jesse Owens' quotes? What is it that's going to happen between 11 a.m. You said 11 a.m. to what time?
The event supposedly ends at 5 p.m. I actually shared this with
Oh yeah,
Michael.
let me get it on the screen. Yeah, maybe that will help answer some questions.
Perfect.
Jim, do you want to walk through it?
This can change as necessary, but this is what we set up for now. By 10 a.m. we want to have our pop-ups up. We have 2 of them. CD6 probably
I
has
made it
2,
on.
but I can't speak for them, and they haven't given me much information. Whether or not Nuri's coming is a maybe, like so many other things. We need some tables and chairs. Hey, if Humblebee and Ever After come up with booths, they're welcome to them. We don't set them up. 11 a.m. is the official opening. The MC welcomes everyone. The MC, I'm assuming, is you, Linda Ravani. You always are. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I have no
Okay.
problem with that. Is there going to be somebody from Rec and Park that's going to be there that can grandstand like Nuri?
We have invited them. They haven't committed. The Birmingham track team's going to be there.
Is that for sure?
that seems to be sure for sure. Someone from the park project will speak. You will speak. If Mary Martinez is there, she can speak. LAPD says they're going to be there and speak. Jonah, Viana. We're going to encourage everyone to get a ticket. We have incredible donations toward this. What is it called again? Opportunity
prize.
drawing.
Opportunity drawing.
Yes, incredible. I'm gonna get about a million tickets for myself. Then
Do
they'll
we have
announce the
tickets?
winners. Huh?
Do we have the tickets?
I'm
Does that
gonna,
have to be purchased?
I believe there's tickets in the shed. There was
I
the last time I
believe so
last
too.
time I had a key to the shed, there was tickets in there. But I'll find out if, let me work with Linda Schwerin and we'll find out what we have in there. And as it says right there, enjoy the park, break down, clean up.
Okay, so what are you going to do prior to that for advertising? Are we going to leave that up to Jennifer, or do you, because outreach is to support you,
Yeah.
but not necessarily to do all like we've done in the past with poor Kristen. She was going crazy.
Right.
So
The Jesse Owens group is doing advertising. I still do not have an event permit because Viana has not been able to give me anything from the city. I call her about 10 times a day, but until I get that, even though we voted for it, I don't have any money because there's no event. So assuming
in
we get that
progress.
money, I already know where I'm going to get something printed. And Danica has said she's going to help me, and we're going to go around to some of the neighboring elementary schools.
Right.
Can I say something?
Yeah, Linda.
Well, I believe that when we discussed this at Rec and Parks, we were talking about using social media.
That's happening.
Yeah, I'm not an expert, but Kristen had volunteered something. We have thoughts of a flyer going to schools, and Jim mentioned that because Danica has connections and like distribution avenues for that. And then in addition, we have our website. And Jim, I don't know if this is something we talked at the Rec and Park meetings or something you wanted to mention tonight with Michael about nextdoor.com. Didn't we plan on doing nextdoor.com as well to make sure that we have a coverage and an announcement?
Well, until we have an event, I don't think we can.
No, but we're just talking about it right now. Was that's a plan, right? If it comes through. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks. Stacy and then Jennifer.
I just had clarification around, hold on, just lowering my hand so I don't forget to do it later. Clarification around whose meeting it was, because Jim started the meeting saying it's CD6's meeting and we're whatever. And Linda just said that it's LBNC's meeting. So just trying to understand who the primary party is and who then is responsible for making sure the permits, all of those things fall through or happen. And then obviously I would definitely want to check on tickets before the morning of.
I'll answer that.
Thank you, Linda.
CD6 has more clout than we do.
Right.
Okay, so it's CD6's event. that we're going to co-sponsor with, and it's easier for us to get it through funding if it goes that way.
Mhm.
But bottom line is CD6 hasn't done much to make this happen. 90% of the work has been done by Rec and Park Committee.
Absolutely.
And the families around the park itself. So it's just schematics. It's just wordplay, if you will.
Well, I guess the concern is more about then where does liability fall? Since it's their event, is there liability
Liability meaning what?
for anything? I mean, this is a public event. I don't know.
Well, it's a city liability, if that's what you're talking about, risk and that. The city funding has to approve the permit. And they're not approving it until some I's get dotted and T's get crossed. And we're using CD6 to help us get that through that. It's a whole ball of wax. It's
May
just,
the force be with you.
thank you. No, we've all said it's been a lot more fun in the past. We have too many hoops to jump through, and they're really making it unpleasant.
But the wheels are moving slowly.
I would grease them, I'll tell you that much. But
Yeah, we're almost October.
I got WD-40.
Jennifer.
So I was just going to talk about what I've done for advertising, and I've created a flyer that is part of Jesse Owens Park Project group. It's just neighbors, and we are creating it, and it's actually it's ready. I'm just adding any items on there when we get donations. I'm waiting to print that until the end of September. The last Friday of September, because personally, me, Nate, and Katie are going to be dropping them in people's mailboxes that first weekend. And when I say we're dropping them in mailboxes, it's just our immediate vicinity of the park. So anything that neighborhood council can do to support us, the flyers in this local school kids backpacks is awesome. So, and I understand you have to wait until you get the I's dotted, T's crossed before you can actually spend the money to make the flyers. But if you need help creating them, I'm happy to create them for you to whatever spec you need, because I've got mine done for the neighborhood pretty much, but it's literally just going in our neighbors' mailboxes because we're paying for it out of our pocket and we're physically walking them around the blocks.
That's awesome. That'd be great. I also wanted to add, Jim, that I can support on the social media side since I covered the Lake Balboa Instagram and Facebook. I think it would be important, whatever, I know Kristen had put something together last time, and then I, put kind of like a save the date just to keep putting people's minds. But moving into October, I would love to see if we do maybe 1 or 2 posts a week, but the information is connected but similar. Sometimes you can add a picture of the park, just of it underway. It could be maybe doing a video with a parent and a child, who maybe go to the park and posting that video on Instagram, promoting this event or the Jesse Owens Park. So I would love to connect with you and those type of social media contents that we could put on our page that draw people to it and also to the website to support that effort.
Kristen has created a whole bunch of things.
Excellent.
But look, I need stuff done, but how can I really go out there and advertise the thing until I have a permit?
No, yeah, makes sense.
This is what it's so it's so mind-boggling, frustrating, and this is one of the reasons why I told Linda Gravani the other day. I said, if I don't see any money from the city pretty soon, I'm just going to pay for it out of my own goddamn pocket. Excuse my French.
Right. Well, we hear your frustration, but just know we're all here to support and we're ready to, like, once that button gets pushed, you see all the folks that are like ready to go for you. So at least know
Good.
that. Linda S.
Two things. One, with regard to the flyers that Jennifer mentioned, and I think this is wonderful. I know she shared something at a previous meeting. I would make a comment with regard to distributing the neighborhood flyers and putting them in mailboxes. And somebody's at my door and I don't know why. My comment would be that it's illegal. You're not supposed to put anything in people's mailboxes. So that's just FYI. Put it on the doormat, stick it in the screen, whatever. But just a caution about putting things in the U.S. mail post office, in the post box.
Good to know. Thank you.
Great fun, huh? Number two, with regard to the volunteers, I made a note, and so far we looks like we're on the way. And Jim, I believe, said Ruth Doxey had volunteered with regard to outreach and collecting names, so she would be there. You can write me down. I'm available also. And my question is, Pam, are we going to have a call to board members? Excuse me.
I don't know what that
Board
is.
members.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, what's a board member? That's Bugs Bunny. To board members, asking them to volunteer and what times they're available or what they can do in advance so that it helps you out and gets us better prepared. Question mark.
If the question's for me, that's what I always did whenever I was doing the movies.
Okay, then I'll just keep my eyes, ears, and my email open. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm also there to support you the day of or before as well too. So
Thank you, Michael.
all right, if there's no more questions or comments for Jim, I think he's been on the hot seat for the last 30 minutes or so, but I think it's a good hot seat because this is an amazing event for the community, and we're all excited and we're just ready to support you, Jim, and the community wants to see this open. So, all right, well, thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Moving on to item number 2, I put this on the agenda, which is the report and discussion on DUN's digital communications policy, which is supposed to start, I believe, on October 4th. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks. There was a training that DUN had. I think Linda attended, and then I attended as well as Danica, to listen to what them go over the policy itself. I did want to share for those of you that and this information is on the DUN's website as well. I just wanted to quickly just what the purpose of this policy it says, and just read a few sentences. This policy was passed by the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners in accordance with the charter role of policy setting oversight for the neighborhood council system. The policy provides procedures, excuse me, and standards for neighborhood councils, digital communications, including the use, management, design, development, and maintenance of websites, social media accounts, newsletters, and other platforms as defined and described herein. This policy also contains information and attachment, which is included in this policy, the systems commenting policy. Additionally, neighborhood council boards are authorized to administer, implement, and enforce this policy. In addition, the department's authorized to create rules, regulations, forms, or guidelines to administer, implement, and enforce this policy. I just shared that just to kind of give you an overview of what it was, what we have to follow, what begins October 4th. It's really just following the policies of DUN that were created. I know the neighborhood council took a stand against this digital policy, but I leave it up to the board if there's any additional comments or questions regarding this, and hopefully we can answer today or discuss. I don't know, Linda, you were in the training, Linda.
Yeah, this is going to be reviewed in 6 months by Board of Neighborhood Commissioners. And I do want to stress the reason that the Neighborhood Council opposed it is there was a lot of reports, there was a lot of watching, there was a lot of double checking that we, the Neighborhood Council, would have to watch people's personal postings, etc. And I'm thinking, I don't have time for that. I don't know about you. So that's why we opposed it. One of the things that they did say was that there is no social media police, which was good, I guess. So what we need to do is make sure everyone understands that we should not be talking about anything that the neighborhood council is going to vote on in social media, because we're held to a higher standard. All the discussion of anything that is before the neighborhood council has to be discussed at a committee meeting and or the full board meeting, period. Don't give your opinion to what's happening at Jesse Owens Park, for example, but it's already been voted on, so it's okay. But that's what I'm saying. I'll lower my hand.
Thanks, Linda. Yeah, no, I agree. I hear you. That's exactly what the training said. It was interesting. Like, we can share the committee agendas, but we can't like post anything specific on the agenda that may show an influence of something that before voting or discussing it in committee or in general neighborhood council meetings. So we could share federal, state, city resources, to the community, but can't particularly, share any particular business or something that may show influence over others. So, yeah, it was pretty. So
it was intense.
Yeah,
it was really intense. It was intense, but again, it just, we don't have to, what they originally asked for was a weekly report or a monthly report that I would see what Jim Stein was saying on social media. Well, I can't, Stacy sent me something. I can't open it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to watch everybody's social media. So you're going to have to watch out for yourselves. Make sure that you don't say anything that we're going to vote on. And who knows what we're going to vote on. Next week or next month, you have no idea what we're going to vote on. So it's best not to give your opinion to anything publicly on anything while you're on the board.
Stacy?
Just to clarify, I sent it to those two of you who had asked for it. I understand, Linda, you couldn't open it the first one, so I sent a screenshot to make it easier. I emailed it to both you and to Michael.
Oh,
thank you.
Stacy.
Thank
You
you.
both wanted it. That's the impression I got. So
I'd be no good with the social media monitoring. Okay.
Thank you, Stacy. I think the other thing that I heard was, and I think it's worth bringing up that at least on what we can discuss in the committee, is getting your input from folks about like what are the content that's on your digital platforms, letting the rest of the board know what your kind of like your vision or what you want to potentially share, just keeping the rest of the board apprised. And so that's one thing that I heard, and that's something we can bring up at the committees. All right, so that was it, unless anyone else. Oh, Stacy.
sorry. And just to go on record, I was not trying to rat anyone out. It came up in the context of talking about the bathrooms because I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. And so now you can see where I got the information. So anyway, and the person's not on the board anyway, so it's not, not a thing. Thanks.
Yay.
Yay. Thanks, Stacy. All right, moving on to the next item. Discussion and possible action regarding the LVNC elections in 2023. I know this Linda S. is the chair of the elections committee, but I at least wanted to bring it up if Linda had wanted anything to share and maybe something. I know there's going to be a coordination between outreach and the elections committee, but wanted to at least open it up for Linda if she wanted anything to report. Linda S.
I should be unmuted, shouldn't I? Okay, for the outreach purposes, our 2023 LB&C elections are scheduled for Sunday, June the 18th. Lake Balboa Ad Hoc Election Committee has not had a meeting thus far. We have been awaiting additional tools and graphics and other information that was to come to us from Dunn and Elections, and it has not been received yet. So we are in the planning stages, and we want to work definitely with outreach. We need to work with outreach. Part of the potential tools would be, of course, our website, our NC brochure, working with Nextdoor, other staff, partnering with other neighborhood councils within our particular district. We are in number 3, and we are in that area with other neighborhood councils. So we're hoping to partner with other neighborhood councils as well. This is all a potential at this point, and I'm hoping that I'll have additional concrete information that I can provide at the neighborhood council meeting in October, and then schedule an elections ad hoc get together for committee members, and then make an official report at the following board meeting. That's about it.
Thanks, Linda. Jim Stein.
I'd like to add to that we hope that this grand opening event will be an opportunity to tell folks that there is going to be an election next year, and like we always do, let them know who we are and that we exist. And Kristen has created some PDFs that we hope to be able to hand out at the event, so that we can use this event for more than one purpose.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, we got, and we'll be following up with that as that becomes solid. It'll be made available.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Stacy.
That's Jim. You took the question right out of my brain. Thank you about offering flyers at this particular event for the elections. But Linda, I was also wondering do you remember that young lady from Galt Elementary that came on to join us for the pledge at one of our recent board meetings? And I guess they have a leadership academy. Is there discussion of potentially partnering with maybe the school? I mean, to get maybe some of the kids and their families involved, because what a great way to outreach to the community, have kids in the leadership, club or whatever it's called, support, maybe volunteer at this with their families, of course, and then it gets the families involved, and maybe we get them to vote and get involved. So is there discussion of partnering with that club at that school?
Which Linda are you addressing?
You, Linda
I think
S.
you. Yeah, I think. I could be wrong, but I think you.
Linda, me?
Yes,
Ah,
as the
okay.
elections committee person. Yeah, I think, right.
Okay, no, there hasn't been anything brought up with regard to that. That's kind of a positive thing. there might be, there's some parameters that would need to follow, specifically with regard to who would be allowed to do what if they volunteered, especially with regard to age-related things.
Which is why I said with their families.
Yes, yes. And I think that's a topic that we should bring up for discussion and see how that might work out. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely an agenda item. I like that idea, Stacy. Jim.
I was gonna try and answer that question. She was from Galt Street, and Galt Street, what's that other one that's close to me? Is it Welby Way over here? Just off of Hanoan. Oh, never mind. It's the one right over here near me.
Is it LeMay?
LeMay, thank you. And Stagg were going to be the three schools that we concentrated on with Danica. And yes, we were going to discuss this with the principal.
Awesome.
What's her name? Antoinette?
Bruska?
Yes, her too.
Well, sounds good. Well, I know it's kind of like I'm thinking what Linda G is thinking when she asked Jim about the Jesse Owens Park. Where Linda asks, where do you see outreach? Do you have a plan, like how where outreach fits into the committee, fits into this, or outreach, maybe putting something together? And I know we still have time, but maybe at a future outreach committee meeting, you can present your things that you would want from outreach support on. Linda G.
Don't forget, even though the election is not until June of 2023, we have to shake the bushes and find people who want to be on the board. And the sooner we start doing that, the better it's going to be for all of us. Because there's several folks that are definitely not coming back. There's several fence sitters, myself included, not sure whether whether I'm gonna go for it again or not. So we really do need to try to replace ourselves, and not even replace ourselves, but find people who would be interested. And the best way of doing that is getting the community involved. Look at what's happened with Jesse Owens Park. The whole community around Jesse Owens, they now know about the neighborhood council because they wanted to fix the park. So we have to just keep building on that. And perhaps there are some leaders that would like to join us. And we definitely need, right now, we have 2 vacant seats for organizational. Organizational is a school, a church, a 501c3, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, something of that nature. So we're looking for 2 board members right now. Where are you?
Thanks, Linda. Linda S.
Yeah, in answer to what you mentioned, Michael, as to what outreach can do and work with the elections ad hoc, I have a basic internal draft of goals. A number of them include partnering with nonprofits, which is something that we can certainly, both outreach and elections can really do well with that. But portion of this are things that were promised to neighborhood councils for planning and promotion, including outreach, that were supposed to be made available to us. something that's going to give us quite an edge to help us over and above what we've done in the past, and particularly in this view of the changes in the digital aspect of what we're doing, and we are still, at least as of September, we're digital. I hope to share this, and when I get better information and what we can do to implement the elections and work directly with outreach so that we can get the biggest bang for our buck.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. All right, well, we're excited to work with you and have a discussion at the next committee meeting, but also even before that. So as Linda said, we have some seats to fill still, which kind of leads us to the next topic, if anyone has any other items, but is discussion and possible action regarding the LBNC social media content. So I just put together a few slides just to kind of show, like, you know, thinking about the end of the fiscal year, or not fiscal year, I'm thinking end of the year, about some ideas and what we should be seeing, because even just a little bit of, you know, me being on Instagram and Facebook posting things, as well as, you know, Erin helping on that end, I've seen that people have been adding themselves to, you know, to get updates from neighbor councils. So that's really important that we're continuing to show information on our social media content pages. So let me share this. So I just put real quickly, you know, for social media content, I mentioned this at the last committee meeting, but I would really like to start this, and you'll probably see an email to the board soon, is board member profiles. I think it's so important for that the community to know and see your faces, not just on the website, but on Facebook and Instagram, and just a little bit about who you are and why you're part of the neighborhood council as well. So I think having that story and that face and people can see, can kind of also relate to them, like, oh, hey, Linda S. or Linda G. or Jim are homeowners. They've been in this community for a while, or they like this and such. This is a little bit more about them. You're creating that story, that connection with them, even online, where most people get their information from most recently. Again, just a reminder, we're to continue to put the meeting and committee invitations. A lot of times I'm gonna have to work closely with the committee chairs, but you know, some of them remind me, like, hey, Michael, can you post this on Instagram or Facebook? And I'm more than happy to do that or create something for them. I know I did that for Miguel, but if there is a Rec and Park, sometimes a reminder to me, like, hey, Michael, can you post this on Instagram or Facebook? I will share it and I'll create something for you so that we can post on these pages for the committees. And then I did it for the general committee meetings as well too. To let people know about the neighbor council general board meetings, and then reminders. And then city, state, federal resources, you know, there are some important things that are important to the community, and share with them. When it was hot a couple of weeks ago, you know, letting people know, like, where the resources, you know, to deal with the heat exhaustion or the services that are in their own communities. Of course, LBNC event postings, community photos, not necessarily like businesses, but like someone's at the Lake Balboa Park or somewhere, you know, in the community that they're seeing. I think sometimes posting those photos, just like connection to the community, makes a big difference. And then videos by board members. I would love to, even if it's like Linda G or S or Jim, since you guys are here, is like scheduling time for a 30-second video saying, hi everyone, my name is, you know, Linda S. I would please come to the next elections committee meeting, and you know, we're going to have a lot to talk about. More information on the website. I'm just throwing it real quickly, but something, you know, to continue to engage folks. And then finally, I put it together. This is just an example of myself. I put of a post of what you would. I took from the website, but this is something you can put on Instagram or Facebook. You know, meet Michael Cortez, your communications officer, outreach committee chair. Was a homeowner in Lake Balboa. He's a lifelong Valley resident. He grew up in Conejo Park, attended local schools, and received his master's at Cal State Northridge. Again, connecting to people that I'm in the Valley. Currently works at LA Metro, but loves the Lake Balboa community. You will always find Michael enjoying local eateries, supporting local businesses, and walking in his neighborhood. Outreach is important to Michael, so you'll always see Michael posting important resources or media information to the community on the LBNC website. And then for our information, my email address. Again, this is just a draft. This is something, of course, everyone could create at their own, and I'm happy to create these profiles for individuals. So just something to think about, and we can have the discussion, but I just wanted to share some ideas that I have for everyone. And I think Lynn, I don't know if it was Linda G first or Linda S. So, Linda S.
Michael, I have a question. I have photos that I have accumulated over this and some information over this COVID-19 era. And I am not a social media person, and you are the outreach guy. So if I have something that I'd like to submit,
Yes.
right?
Yes, send it to me. I will say the last photo that I posted of the One Generation senior event that we went to, and then I think it was Ruth Oxy sent the photo, and then the movie night had one of our most likes. You know, people love to see pictures of people and stuff and events. So if you have back, social media calls it Throwback Thursday, or I called it Throwback Thursday. You know, here, this is what Lake Balboa did in event supported in June. So yes, if you have photos, I'm happy to share the work that everyone's done in the past.
And tell me, please, what format do I send them to you?
If you send me the photos, I'll see what I can do to, work with them.
Do I submit photos in JPEG or PDF or what?
JPEG would be great.
Submit in JPEG. One thing I had with regard to what you were mentioning on social media, and this is just a thought I'd like to share, and then perhaps you and the committee could make a comment. Since we have been over 2 years now, we have been virtual and not in person. I had thoughts of perhaps putting something together, maybe with some assistance, of course, with regard to what's Lake Balboa been doing since everybody has been staying at home, or that's not the right way to put it, I'm sure, but since COVID-19, what's LBNC been doing?
So like highlights.
Yeah, highlights. What have we been doing for the last 2.5 years? Things where we've given grants, like what we were talking about, photographs, maybe a paragraph on something we did for the community. I don't know if there's any interest in that, but it was just.
I mean, if you go, did you know? That also helps with your elections effort, like people knowing, like, did you know LBNC did A, B, and C? But I can't do it by myself. Like, I need that information and that working with me on it to get it on our pages. So happy to work with it if you want to, Linda.
What, like, did you know, or I don't know.
Yeah. If you compile the highlights of LBNC, if you said the work that we've done in the last few years, I can work with you on putting something together for social media.
I'm slow. But
it's okay. We'll work it. All right.
Gone by, so
if you're willing to work on it, I'll put it online.
I'll work on it.
I like the idea.
Outreach, and you can take it from there.
Sounds good. Linda G, and then Stacy.
Something you don't know, Michael, is that Linda Schwering and her husband Carl owned a business called the Camera Bug. So yes, she's got a lot of photos, I'm sure. And Jim Stein is a historian. He knows everything about Lake Balboa that anybody needs to know. I think the idea is phenomenal. It's absolutely wonderful. I'll take pictures of me picking tomatoes at Ralph's.
Love it.
Wanted. I think it's a great idea. I would like to have the community get more involved in what's happening with the city. If I have council files and things, I would love to do something on how to file council how to reply to council files. I think it's the best outreach idea ever. Thank you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like that, Linda. Just if you provide me the content, I'll put it in a nice way to put it on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll always share it with you. Like, is this what you envisioned
Yeah.
or what your idea is? And then we'll post it.
Perfect, perfect. Love
Sounds
it.
good. I love it. Stacy.
Yes, Linda taught me how to access council files. So I'm very grateful for that. I know how to do it now, but only because she took the time to show me. And I'm grateful for that. So thank you. When you were talking, Linda S, about like, you know, what's been going on, the pictures that I have to offer would be like, where's this coyote spotted? Where's that coyote? So we could do a where the coyotes of Lake Balboa are, but that's neither here nor there, but I still want that listed, FYI. A few things, a few ideas. So I like the what we've been up to idea as well, but especially like Linda said, it might be a while, but I think especially after we have the Jesse Owens Park thing, especially after we have the welcome to Lake Balboa sign up. Is that really ever still happening? I'm not sure. I don't know, because that would be a great header photo. On any, so social media, in terms of the social media posts, though, what I noticed in the post that I sent to you guys already had 104 comments, and that the way it was structured actually was interesting. It was about the park, but then it posed a question about the bathrooms, and it engaged people. So that idea of posting a question might engage and solicit more responses. And especially if it's a question that's linked directly to something on an upcoming neighborhood council file or agenda for the next meeting, like get the engagement and then say, hey, this is where we're going to discuss it. Come join us. And then I would also say, and thank you again, Linda Gravani, because including a link to, you know, the website, the LBNC website is probably helpful on all posts, because I've come to a million of these meetings, you guys know, and I still forgot to look at the website until I reached out to Linda because I couldn't find the agenda for this meeting. So she reminded me, oh, it's on the website. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So even those of us who have been doing this would still, you know, benefit from the reminder of go to this website, find out stuff.
Good
And
point.
the last thing I was going to mention was I like the profiles, but my concern about that would be having very, very curated information that wouldn't pose an internet safety, like security risk, you know, like where people went to school and go Northridge. But like things like that could be like security questions for resetting passwords. And so I think just being really careful about that, especially for some of our council members who may not be aware that that could pose a security threat. That's all.
Good point, Stacy.
I like the idea.
So maybe more just like what do you love about your neighbor council, or just like is this very general focus on your community and neighbor council more than their own person?
Yeah, and what do you love about Lake Balboa? Like your favorite experience or memory or something like that. That's more about this than personal identifiers, you know, that could be used by people with, you know, nefarious intent. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thanks, Stacy. Linda, is that an old hand or? Oh wait, I think Jim.
You might want to rephrase that.
Yeah, no, that, 104,
I didn't mean it like that.
104, and that was in just about one day.
Wow.
One day, it was crazy. You learn a lot of ideas I didn't know. Somebody I know personally from when my kids were in school put a thing on there about what is that chicken place? Chick-fil-A. I didn't know this, but apparently they when you buy something at the Chick-fil-A, I don't eat there, so I don't know. But when you buy something, they give you a receipt, and on the receipt has a code, and that's how you get in the restroom, instead of just anybody being able to come and go. It was an interesting idea.
Jim, I'm curious. I missed what you were saying, what you're referring to that was a one-day thing, because I was laughing so hard about the old hand thing.
Oh, well,
Sorry.
the initial post went up yesterday morning. So that's roughly one day. That many responses. That's all I was gonna
This
say.
this was for Jesse Owens Park.
Right.
One Stacy was mentioning there's over 100 because of the question posed.
Right.
Well, it was
Right.
probably the content too, but yes,
Yeah.
there was a lot of engagement. So, but thank you for clarifying, Jim. Sorry, I was laughing.
No,
Yeah.
I wasn't criticizing what you said. I was amazed that many people responded that in that short a time. That's all. Sorry.
Thanks, Jim. All right, Linda G, in the youthful hand.
I just wanted to speak to the agenda really quickly because the agenda wasn't posted on the city website because the lobbyist blurb wasn't on there. So the city decided not to post, and that's why you had to go onto our website, Stacy. That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank
shame
you.
on that.
Regardless, I
Hmm.
found it because you pointed me there. So thank you.
Thanks, Linda. Yeah, I think also to add to Jim's comment about the Jesse Owens Park, like even just me putting that save the date got so many comments. I think Michael Fear even reposted that post on Instagram, saving it. So it's like, it's just, this park is amazing and the community is just so excited about it. So, yeah. All right. Next item is discussion and possible action regarding the LBNC newsletter. I just brought this up here because I know Kristen, when I had a conversation with her, was interested in helping this newsletter. She said when she has time, and I definitely want to work with her, but it takes a lot of, I know even Kristen said it takes a lot of time and effort and energy. And it takes a lot of the board members providing the information. If there wasn't any content, it was hard for her to put that newsletter together before in the past. So I don't know if you want me to, committee members, if you want me to continue to proceed with going with this newsletter, try it out one more time. Work with Kristen. She's willing to. Maybe after the, I know the focus right now is Jesse Owens Park, but maybe after we can work on a newsletter if people think so. But again, it is going to take the village of the neighborhood council to provide the resources for that newsletter. So anyone, I don't know, what are people's thoughts? Linda S. and then Stacy. Oh, you're on mute, Linda. Oh, wait, you're on mute, Linda S.
You're referring to a digital newsletter on our website, right?
I believe she did it on the website, and I think there was a printed version.
Yeah, I know that we have not had anything printed and distributed in a number of years. And Jim and Linda G would know how long. I'm going to guess 5 or 6. But when you mention about the newsletter, if it's something that we're going to possibly, it would go on our website. We have basic things on our website now, but those things do not necessarily pertain to Lake Balboa. It's all kinds of things. It could be from the city. It could be from our assemblyman, from DWP. Could be a heat alert. But do I understand you correctly? We're talking about something that would be like pertinent and local Lake Balboa community stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there could be other resources, but yeah, the focus,
Because
of
those
course,
other
would be,
things are already there now.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to clarify. Thanks.
Yeah, I also just wanted to get if we want to explore it further with Kristen, and if people felt it was something that they felt beneficial. Stacy and then Linda G.
So this is the mysterious newsletter that I have heard has existed at some point in the past, but I have signed up for and have not actually received. And so I know I know I'm not the only one for whom it's been intermittent. So I'm not sure if there's anything to investigate on the distribution side, but posting a newsletter on the website isn't necessarily the intent of a newsletter.
Yeah.
To push out information. When you put things on a website, the expectation is that you expect people to come and get the information. The purpose of a newsletter is to disseminate that and to send it out. So I was thinking maybe, I'm not sure how often was it done before? Was it intended to be monthly? Okay, I just read your lips, Linda. So this is getting interesting. Okay, so but I'm wondering if it may be converted to a quarterly newsletter that actually frees up the demand some, gives greater time for events to accumulate. We have reflections of what's been going on and upcoming. And then that's the push of information that should be actually sent to people. That would be sent out, via the email, system or whatever that you guys use or have.
Good points. Linda G.
It's a lot of work. I personally prefer the idea of sending out stuff when there's stuff to send out. Like your idea about the social media. Waiting for a newsletter and saying, well, this is what we did, and these are the pictures. The younger folk are instantaneous. They want to know what's happening right now, and not what happened a long time ago. I don't think the neighborhood council is doing a lot at the moment, like we did way back then. We no longer have an emergency preparedness committee, so we're not getting updates on it. The Health and Public Safety Committee cancels more often than not. So where are you going to get your stuff? It's going to be hard pressed, and you're going to have to make up stuff or have to figure out what to put in the newsletter. I like your idea, social media, much more. It happens when it happens. Pictures come when they come, and the pressure is off you to find out what's happening that you need to put on the newsletter. And Kristen was really begging people to, can I get your stuff? Can I have something from you?
Yeah.
And I don't want to weigh you down. If we can do the social media stuff, I think that's more than enough. And I guess we have to take off the website that you're going to get the newsletter. So that is something we have to talk to Aaron about. But that's my 2 cents worth.
No, I definitely hear you, and it is a lot of work, like Kristen told me. So I think maybe this is something we could potentially table as we ramp up, social media, the election stuff, and I like Stacey's idea about making them quarterly, and then as we gather more emails and at these events and other things, and as maybe committees are filled or chaired and start up again, this could be a potential opportunity to bring up. So I don't know if it was something that people were interested now or that. I can talk to Kristen and say, we'll let's see where we're at now, and then but something that the committee is at least open to it, but maybe down the road. Was good. Linda, did you have your hand up?
I did. Well, I did. Yes. I guess I took it down by mistake. So if I would agree and suggest that perhaps that we table the newsletter for at least the moment, and that I agree also that the social media is something that attracts attention and sort of encourages a response, which gets more out there to folks in the cloud in the netherworld or the dither world or whatever. So my question would be, let's say that we have something that outreach posts and we're posting it on Instagram or we're posting it on
Facebook, Nextdoor.
Facebook, something like that. If it's a basic thing that's format convertible, convertible. Is your plan to also include that? Is it included on the website? Because I'm clueless there, and you know the answer, and I don't.
Yeah, we can actually, we can easily post it on the website. So yeah, it can be converted. I know Erin does post things that have been posted on the website. Maybe not the look of what I post on Instagram or Facebook, but the information is still on there as well. So, but yeah, if there is just something specific that needs, that could be on the website, we can potentially coordinate that. Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if it's something that if we feel that we're getting a response and it's going on social media, if we would want to put an image or a blurb on our website as well, kill two birds with one stone. And also, there are still some folks who will look at the website and they are not social media savvy.
Yeah. So like if what I'm hearing from you is like the photos that you're going to provide me or the highlights, definitely post that on the website and make sure that people have that information there as well too. So that would definitely live there as well.
Well, anything that I would come up with in that respect, I would send directly to you, and then the outreach, you as chair, the outreach committee can disseminate it in the best way.
Yeah. Thanks, Linda. I think Stacey, I don't know if that was was your hand up from before? Is that a new?
It's an old hand.
Got you this side, Stacey.
Sorry.
Jim.
I love history, and I've been looking for a way to speak about historical things in Lake Balboa. I gone to CD6 and see if they, if you've ever gone back east. I know Linda Gravani and I talked about this a lot. In a way, it's kind of sad, but you can walk up and down the streets and they'll go. There'll be a sign that say this is what at this location such and such used to be here. Of course, here, what would they say? At this location, a gas station used to be here. But there are some places where historical things used to be. I'm thinking of that house that we wanted to buy out over on Van Owen. That's one. But there are some places, and I drove around and I took pictures and I gathered stuff, and I used to give this to Kristen all the time, and I tried to get CD6 involved in it, but yeah, they got, they have other things on their mind, like homeless and making sure that I don't know, whatever Nuri's pet peeve is. But I would welcome the opportunity to get this information and give it to you and let you do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, I would love to, Jim. I think the history is so important. And, I think there's this one organization, I see them on Instagram or Facebook, the Valley something. I think they hosted an event at the Westfield Topanga Mall, like 818. And that they did this huge event and they're all over the place. And I always see them posting histories of the Valley, and that would even be a great partnership down the road. But yeah, I agree. I think your story is important and the story of the community is important. I would even say it would be great if Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council did a either in-person event around come and learn the history of the community, or virtual, and it lives on the Lake Balboa YouTube page. I mean, I think there's just so many opportunities. So I like that.
Okay.
I saw that too, Michael. And did you see? I was like surprised, like many, that Lake Balboa was included in that 818 event in the signage. And then of course people were really upset that some of the older communities in the valley were left out.
Yeah.
Please everyone, I guess.
But
Yeah.
we're special.
We are.
Yes. All right, well, thanks. That was really good. All right, so the final thing is, I just put this on here if there was anything that needs to be discussed. Possible action, item number 7, discussion possible action regarding the LBNC website. I don't know if there's anything that the committee wants to discuss, but I just left this on here as like something, if there was anything that needs to be brought up. Linda G.
Yeah, I want to thank you for being on top of getting our new board member on, and I forwarded the picture. But that was what was lacking in the past, was advising Aaron of what needs to be changed and corrected. He's not sitting at every single committee meeting and every single board meeting to find out what he has to do to update the website. So I really appreciate that, and thank you very kindly.
Yeah, thanks, Linda. Stacy.
And I don't know if you had a hand in this too. So if you did, thank you. When I was finding the agenda for this meeting tonight, I happened to notice that the new board member has already completed all of their trainings. Wow, that's like a record. Maybe needs like
Yeah.
an award.
That's probably Linda G.
Whoever.
I'm making.
That's
I know she
impressive.
pushed. I know she pushed me. Good job, Linda G. That's that leadership.
There's no point in being here if you can't vote.
Yeah. Linda S.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I think this was part of number 5 with regard to social media content. And I had a question and I forgot to ask you. How much is Outreach using later.com for social media? Are we utilizing that a little, a lot?
I'm not too familiar with later.com. That wasn't shared.
Okay, so
then maybe we can-
later.com is something that Jeremy wanted because it's like
Food
Hootsuite,
suites. Yeah.
that you plug in stuff weeks in advance so
Oh,
that
yes,
you
yes.
don't get inundated the last minute. Oh, Jesse Owens Park, we need to do this and we need to do that. And oh, don't forget that. Now we're doing this and that. So if everyone had a schedule of when they wanted something to be sent out, you could plug that in at your leisure. And then when the date comes, it automatically goes where it needs to go. And that was what later.com is.
Gotcha.
And apparently they have a lot more outlets and social media things that are available for outreach. Things that I have not been, it hasn't been available to me, but I do apparently get things once in a while as treasurer for Lake Balboa, usually to pay the bill. So
Yeah,
if you would, perhaps we can talk about that later, since it's something that it is kind of an ongoing but minimal cost thing to the neighborhood council. And maybe we can utilize the way and we can talk about it. And if not,
Yeah.
we can
I'll be
post it to the board.
yeah, I'm happy to discuss with you. I know it wasn't on the agenda as a discussion.
No, I know it. It's just,
Yeah.
I put that under social media and we can discuss that at another time.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, we can discuss it, yeah, because I do have more questions. So okay. Final thing, I think the next thing on the agenda is public comments. I don't know if there's any additional public, does anyone from the community have any comments? Final comments. Oh, Jim.
You've probably, when you put up the agenda at Ralph's, you probably noticed this. I certainly noticed it. Linda Gravani pointed it out to me. The bulletin board that Ralph's has provided us is just inundated with stuff. There's hardly enough room for our stuff. And even if there was, it's way back in there where you're never going to find it unless you get lost, or you're looking for a place to put up your agenda.
Or getting a lotto ticket. I think the lotto's right there.
They moved that.
Oh.
But I remember this from a couple of years ago when Vallarta wanted our blessing for their new store. I asked them if they had considered putting up a public bulletin board of any kind in that store when they put it up, and they said they were. And it occurs to me that that's kind of in the area of Lake Balboa that we have a hard time reaching. And I just like to put it out there in this public comment opportunity that perhaps we might want to talk to Vallarta and see if that's where we would rather put our agenda. That's all.
Thanks, Jim, for the comment. Noted. Ida, is any other comments? All right. Well, item number 9, board members. I know I always love when Linda G says this, but board members and neighbor council, NW block captains, neighbor watch block captains. Thank you for all you do in our community. So thank you for being here, and we adjourn at 8:35 p.m. today. So thank you everybody for being here.
And thank you guys for all you do.
Nice job.
Thank
Good night,
you.
folks.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.